Guys, welcome to the grade 7. This is presented in your textbook in a nice way. They tell, just imagine your computer as a kitchen in a hotel. Okay, so your computer is here, kitchen in the hotel is here. So just imagine a kitchen is there and a computer is there. Okay, in order to run the kitchen, in order to have good foods in the kitchen, we need a good cook, or we call it a chef. In order to make good foods, we need a chef in the hotel. As same as that, in the computer, to make everything success, you need the device. A device like this. Okay, the device is like this. That device is called CPU. Okay, CPU is a short term. CPU means Central Processing Unit. So we are going to learn about Central Processing Unit. Just imagine the hotel can have two chefs. One is making one kind of food, and other one is making another kind of food. As same as a hotel has two chefs, we can have a processor which can do two tasks together. So just imagine if the processor can do four tasks together, how much a speed that processor would be. Okay. Now let's learn about the CPU. First of all, you should remember that CPU is a small digital circuit. Okay, that's a small digital circuit. It's actually a size of this much. Just remember it as a chocolate biscuit, a size of a chocolate biscuit. I would say like that. Okay, so this is located inside the system unit. Where it is located? It is located inside the system unit. Guys, the first thing to remember is you can't observe CPU from the outside. Okay, so that means CPU is located inside the computer. Inside the computer means CPU is located inside the system unit. This is the system unit. Sometimes people say this is CPU, so that is a wrong word. Just remember, this is system unit. Okay, now you should remove one side of the system unit if you want to see the CPU. Now you remove one side, then you can find the motherboard. On the motherboard, CPU is fixed like this. Okay, just remember the first thing, CPU cannot be observed from outside. And one more thing, remember, whenever the computer is switched on, the CPU starts working or CPU starts running. The CPU will stop its work when the computer is switched off. Okay, every time the CPU will run behind the screen or runs in the background. Okay, that's a very important thing we have to remember in our lesson. Guys, now it's the time to talk about the components of the CPU. CPU is a single chip or a single digital circuit, but it has three parts inside the CPU, just like this. CPU has memory registers inside the CPU. Okay, it has memory registers, a part called memory registers. The other part is arithmetic and logical unit. Arithmetic and logical unit. The last part is the control unit. Let's see what are the duties of each of these parts. So memory registers is doing a very simple thing. In your grade, just remember, memory register will remember everything the CPU does for a short time. That means temporarily. Memory registers will keep everything in its mind or in its memory temporarily. When the computer is switched off, the memory registers will lose all the data. The second part, the second component of the CPU is arithmetic and logical unit. Arithmetic and logical unit is doing the arithmetical thing. That means the mathematical operations of the computer are done by the arithmetic and logical unit. Control unit is doing a very complex thing. It's controlling every signal of the computer. Just remember like that. Control unit is controlling every hardware and software connected to the computer. In this lesson, we have to talk about 4 generations of CPUs. Actually, we are in the latest 4th generation of the CPU. But before coming into that situation, we have passed 3 generations. Okay, we are going to learn what is the main device, main technology used in each generation. In the first generation, we used a device called vacuum tubes. Vacuum tubes as the first generation CPU. The CPU or the central processing unit was made by vacuum tubes. This is a very old technology, and these vacuum tubes were taking a lot of space in your computer during that time, and it generates lot of heat. Okay, these were the problems of first generation of the CPU. Then the CPU evolved. Evolved means it developed. Now they removed vacuum tubes from the CPU, and then they included a new technology called transistors. Transistors were used in the second generation. Okay, so transistors were small and they were speed and they were very faster than the vacuum tubes. So the computer starts to become smaller. Computers are now becoming smaller and faster. Even though transistors are better than vacuum tubes, people try to improve the technology. Then the transistors were removed from the second generation, and then the technology called IC, integrated circuits, came into the computer technology. Now the CPU is mainly designed through ICs. All these 3 devices were removed in the fourth generation, and a best invention of the computer history came. That is microprocessor. A small digital circuit is doing millions of instructions per second. So up to today also we are using a microprocessor. That means we are in the 4th generations of the CPU. Guys, now we are using microprocessor as the CPU. So in order to check which microprocessor is better than another one, so we are using a method. So we are measuring the speed of the CPU. So the speed of the CPU is known as clock speed. This is a technical word. Okay, so clock speed is equal to the speed of the CPU. Usually a clock speed means how many instructions the CPU can execute. Okay, if in simple terms, that means how many instructions the CPU can do within 1 second. So this is the speed of the CPU. So speed of the CPU and clock speed of the CPU are both same words. In order to measure the speed of the CPU, in order to measure the clock speed of the CPU, we are using a measuring unit, that is hertz. The basic measuring unit of the speed of the CPU is hertz. Actually, the unit hertz was used in the past computers. Nowadays, the CPUs are very fast. So, hertz became kilohertz. Okay, 1000 hertz is equal to 1 kilohertz. Just remember like that. Okay, so when kilohertz is like not enough for the CPU speed, then it changed to megahertz. Okay, for some time megahertz was used, but nowadays the computers are executing millions and billions of instructions per 1 second. So the speed nowadays computers, the present computers use is gigahertz. We write it as GHz. So this is a standard way. Okay, just remember the computers of today or the today's computers are using gigahertz as the unit of the speed. Okay guys, so I believe you got some idea about the lesson number 3 of grade 7. This is the content which is provided in your textbook. I believe you may be getting some support from my today's lesson. If you have any questions or anything to ask about the lesson or any other lessons, just put a comment, okay, or just put a message to my mobile number. Okay guys, so we'll meet with another lesson very soon. Until then, goodbye.